There's a very important skill that every actor who is a series regular or wants to have a career period in the business must learn to do. It is a skill that no one will ever teach you and very few people will ever talk about. And that skill is how to advocate for yourself. Hello, my name is J. August Richards. I am here on my YouTube channel, which is called Being a Series Regular, which I created to support the online course I created called Being a Series Regular. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I've been a series regular on national television 7 times, national television and streamers. My first was Angel, which was a spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the WB. My second was called Conviction on NBC, which was produced by Dick Wolf. Third, Raising the Bar on TNT, produced by Stephen Bochco. 4, Notorious on ABC. 5, Kevin Probably Saves the World, which was on NBC as well. 7, many people think I was a series regular on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was not. I was a recurring character. I played Mike Peterson Deathlock. I did probably about 13 episodes of that over their 120 or so episodes that they did. My 6th series was called Council of Dads on NBC. And my 7th I just did in Spain, which was called Vampire Academy, which aired on Peacock. So over the years, I have found myself in many situations that have required me to advocate for myself. What do I mean by advocating for myself? Many times in this business, you'll find yourself in situations where you feel like you're being treated unfairly, you're not being offered what you feel like you should be offered. You feel that people that you work with get preferential treatment that is affecting your work or your mental health. You feel like someone is speaking down to you. Someone is not being a good scene partner or not participating professionally, or there are just things in general that are unprofessional that are happening to you. And you feel like in those moments, like you may not want to say anything because you feel like if you do, you're going to be fired or you're going to have a bad relationship with someone who can help you later. And there are all of these things that go through your head when these experiences occur that make you feel disempowered. And so what I have learned is that it is not worth the mental anguish of not speaking up in those moments. Then I've also learned that there are times when I did speak up that I regretted speaking up. Why did I regret it? Because it really wasn't that big of a deal. And maybe I was having a bad day, or I misinterpreted something and I made a point of something that maybe made people look at me differently. But that's a part of being human. And even being in those situations where you don't know how to respond, that's a part of being human too. Even in your own team, sometimes with your agents, right? You might feel like you're not going out for the things that you want to go out for, or you're not going out enough, or you feel like your agents or your manager has gone cold on you and you want to know where they stand. All of this is the process of advocating for yourself. So in order to illustrate and use as a teachable moment the process of advocating for yourself, I'm going to refer to an article that came out in Deadline Hollywood on March 19th, so that was last week. And the headline is Johnny Depp responds after Blow co-star Lola Glaudini, hope I'm saying her name right, accuses actor of verbal abuse. Okay, so let's get into this scenario because I thought when I read this was a perfect example of a situation where you might feel like you don't know what to do, right? You're doing a movie with this huge star, Johnny Depp. As we'll learn, this was Lola's first studio film ever. It was her first day on set, and she got into this altercation. And so I want to talk to you about how she handled it. I want to talk about what happened, and then I want to go through examples of how I feel there were probably different, albeit I'll just say it, much better ways to handle it. Let's jump into it. So on the podcast, Powerful Truth Angels on January 30th, Lola Glaudini recounted being mistreated by Johnny Depp on the set of the film Blow. The actor had the actor has broken his silence. So I guess Johnny Depp talked about it too. So Johnny made a statement. We'll get into that in a minute. The actor said that while filming a scene for the 2001 film Blow, director Ted Demme told Glaudini to burst out laughing while Depp delivered a monologue. So this is Glaudini talking. She says, I hear the cue and I go, ha ha, I do a big laugh or whatever. Johnny Depp, when they said cut, walks over to me, comes up to me, sticks his finger in my face and goes, who the F do you think you are? Who the F do you think you are? Shut the F up. I'm out here and I'm trying to effing say my lines and you're effing pulling focus. You effing idiot. So now, now it's not funny. Now you can shut up. Now you can effing shut the F up. The quiet that you are right now, that's how you effing stay. Woo! This is what he said to her on her first day on set. Can you imagine? You booked this role in Ted Demme's new movie Blow, starring Johnny Depp, big studio film, and this man goes off on you for something that wasn't even your fault, really. The director told her to do that, right? I'm reading again from the article. Glaudini said this happened on her first day on set. She had not met Depp before, adding, this was my first studio movie. I've just done indies until then. And I have the star who I have idolized, who I'm excited to work with, ream me in my face. The only thing going through my head was, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Oh, that sounds terrible. The actress recalled that Depp, okay, this is the part I really want to talk about. This is the aftermath. I'm reading from the article. The actress recalled that Depp approached her later and gave her a non-apology apology. That's her definition of what happened. Saying, this is what he said, you know, so earlier I was really in my head and staying in character. I'm doing this Boston accent and it's really effing with me. So I'm a little tense and stuff. So I just wanted to make sure we're cool and everything. She continues, this is her talking, this is what she said. I just looked at him and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Of course, what are you talking about? Totally cool. Because I was like, my dad said, don't let them see you sweat. So that was that. Glaudini also noted that Demme, the director who died in 2002, didn't apologize to her after the incident, saying he didn't come over and say anything, making her feel she was totally hung out to dry. When we wrapped, this is her talking, I was like a pariah, she added. No one wanted to talk to me because I am the B who he railed at. My God, what a horrible situation. And I hate to say it, but this is par for the course for Hollywood. Things like this happen all the time. They are not okay. And what she went through was not okay. She didn't do anything to deserve this. But I want to talk about how she handled it, because I think that this is something that we as actors never talk with one another about, and it is important to have this conversation. So, Johnny Depp, okay, let's talk about the moment it happened, in the moment that it occurred. She had many, many choices in that exact moment, right? Now, let's look at the opposite extreme of how she handled it, because I will go on record and say that she did not, in my opinion, handle it properly. She dropped the ball in terms of advocating for herself in two ways, and in two ways she didn't advocate for herself properly. The first one, the moment it happened, and I will die on this hill, the moment he came over and yelled at her, the number one choice of how to advocate yourself in that situation, I don't care if it is Tom Cruise, I don't care if it's being directed by God, I don't care. In that moment, stop, stop, stop. I will not be spoken to you like that. Number one, Ted, the director, come over here, please. I'm asking you nicely to please come over here. I would have had the director come over and I would say, Ted, is there anything you would like to say? And then if Ted didn't jump in and say, I told her to do that, which he should have done, maybe he didn't hear it happen. So no blame is being placed. And I want to take this moment to say, I'm not having this conversation to embarrass, expose, to be salacious. I'm not. I want to use this as a teachable moment because this has happened to me and this will happen to you. Hopefully not, but something similar may or may not. In that moment, I would have given the director the opportunity to explain what happened. If he had not, I would have said, Johnny, Ted asked me to do that in the middle of your monologue for whatever reason he wanted me to do that, maybe to inspire you to do something. If you're going to berate anybody, berate Ted. But what you're doing right now is not okay. For you to berate me like this in front of the cast and the crew, and I'm going to need a moment to collect myself. And she should have walked off the set and sat in her trailer until they both came in to apologize. Full stop. Because what she did and the way that she handled it is why people go on podcasts 22 years later talking about something that happened 22 years ago. Why? Because they didn't get justice in that moment. And guess what? By going on this podcast, she's not going to get justice now. For a day, people have left 64 comments on Deadline Hollywood, and then they're going to forget about it the very next day. Johnny Depp is not going to call her now and apologize. Ted Demi is dead. So this moment she has carried with her. I almost want to cry thinking about it. But for 22 years, she has carried the embarrassment, the humiliation, and the pain of not saying anything in that moment. My rule of thumb that I want to leave you with, and I'm leaving it with you in the middle of this conversation, is my rule of thumb is if something goes down on set, if I think that there is a chance that 10 years from now, I will still be bothered by what happened, then I have to say something. I have to stand up for myself. I have to advocate for myself. If I think about it and I'm like, you know what, this is relatively minor. Okay, the first AD called me in a half hour early and I'm sitting in my trailer and they haven't used me yet. That is not something that I'm going to make an issue out of. Why? Because I'm not even going to be thinking about it the next day, let alone a week from now. You must learn how to let things go because a set is a high pressure circumstance and situation. And, we're all just trying to make it through the day. So we want to err on the side of letting things go. But a situation like this cannot be let go. So that was the first option she had to handle that situation. Let me tell you the second. When Johnny came up to her afterwards and wanted to talk to her about it in private and say, I want to just make sure we're okay, I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but no, Johnny, we're not okay. What you did to me was humiliating. You dressed me down in front of everyone. I have to go through this entire production now having been embarrassed by you. And you're the star, Johnny. So the way that everybody's going to treat me is now you've set the tone for how I should be treated on this set. You have really ruined, and I was so excited about working with you. I'm so hurt by what you did. See, this is how we are giving voice to our true feelings in these moments and not sweeping them under the rug like she did. And now, again, here she is 22 years later on a podcast telling the same story. No, she should have handled it in that moment. I don't know Johnny Depp, but I know actors. And I know that actors want to be liked. So had she done that, let me tell you what he would have done. Like I said, I don't know him, but I know actors. He would have apologized to her in front of the entire crew, and they would have probably had the best rest of the working relationship for the rest of that shoot, and it would have probably been a really positive experience. But you have to be able to speak up for yourself. You have to be able to speak your truth. I understand in Hollywood, we are made to feel like we are disposable. We're made to feel like they're doing us some big favor by putting us in their movie and we should just be happy to be there. But if you don't advocate for yourself, then you're left with these feelings, these muddy, dirty feelings for decades that you can't find closure on because you're going to try to talk about it on a podcast or talk about it on social media, and you're not going to get that closure that you're looking for. So I'm going to end this now, and I just hope that this conversation will inspire you to advocate for yourself in a really healthy way. Because let's talk about another bad way. Another way this could have gone wrong. Let's think about, and again, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody or call anybody out or humiliate anyone, but let's think about how Christian Bale handled his situation when he felt like he was advocating for himself, right? The exact wrong way to advocate for yourself, as bad as not saying anything. The opposite end of that coin is, fuck you, Johnny. Oops, I'm not supposed to curse on YouTube. F you, Johnny. You Emma Effa. I'm out of here. That's not how we handle it either. We handle things with class, we handle things with grace, and we know that, the whole crew is a part of this moment. And whatever vitriol you spew gets spewed onto them and makes their working environment uncomfortable too. So we don't want to go, we don't want to return tit for tat negative energy that people are spewing onto us. We want to just speak our truths and place our own well-being above the need to succeed or be liked as an actor. I think it is more important, personally. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that this was helpful. My class, Being a Series Regular, is online at beingaseriesregular.com. In the course, I talk about all of the things that I think are necessary to doing the job of a series regular. It is not an acting class. It is a class about the position of a series regular. If you're interested, check it out. It was great talking to you. Have a great day. Peace.